Eric was a player that, we got calls on the last couple days. We like Tanner Pearson. He's been a 40, 45 point guy in the league. 24 goals a couple years ago and then 15 last year. We think that he's going to be a good fit with either playing with Petey or Bo. And, he's just another guy that can score for us. So when that came, across my desk, and we talked to Jim Rutherford about it, we talked to our guys, and we just figured that, we're getting a good hockey player here back.
Eric never seemed to really reach the level that people wanted from him in his play during his time in Vancouver. Why do you think it didn't work out for him while he was here?
Well, I think there's a couple reasons. One, he had some injuries that kind of set him back. And, maybe the style of game we played wasn't a fit to, his game. But he, I got to give him credit. He stuck up for our guys. He fought for our team. He was a good penalty killer for us. But, I don't know if it was the injuries, but for whatever reason, he just really didn't get adjusted.
Can you tell us about Carlson as a player and the reasoning for making that move with Jonathan Dahlen going to San Jose?
Carlson is a player scouts like. He's strong on the puck. He's a good two-way player. He's a good playmaker. He was a guy even last year at the draft that we looked at drafting. So he's a player that we followed, we've liked. And with Jonathan Dahlen, we signed him this year. He went into Utica. He's been kind of up and down in his development. And so we just felt like, we really liked the player we were getting back, and so we made the deal.
Did you just feel there was no upside with Dahlen whatsoever, and that's why you decided to make the
move? No, I don't think that. I think there's upside to Jonathan's game. I don't maybe necessarily think there was a fit to the style of game that our team or our organization likes to play, with speed and skill, like speed and pressuring pucks and getting in hard, getting to the net and stuff. We work with him all year on those things, and he's improved those things. But we just felt good about getting Carlson in this deal.
It's not often you trade one of your better prospects. Is for making the move to trade Dahlen. Is this about his on-ice play, or is it about his off-ice approach, or is it a mix of both of those?
I think this is a lateral move. His agent asked me a couple weeks ago if we could move him and we could trade him, and I said, well, if we can do a lateral move where we feel good about getting a player back that we like, we'll look to do that. Otherwise, we weren't going to do it, and our guys felt really good about Carlson, so we made that move.
Why did the agent come to you? I mean, that's not a usual thing that happens with a prospect.
Yeah, well, I think, different players and agents have their own reasons why they do things. I find young players now, sometimes they don't want to pay their dues, in development time. They just want to be given, an NHL opportunity right off the start. And we just felt that, there was some development left in his game before he's ready to be given an NHL opportunity. And we felt he wasn't there yet. And I guess that's kind of where the discrepancy on what they thought and what we thought where he was happened.
Jim, how do you characterize this day? You make these deals, they were announced late. Were you trying to get other things done? Are you happy with what you got done? Was there anything left on the table there?
Well, we've been, working for 2 or 3 weeks, for this day. With where we're at, we're rebuilding the team, and where we're at, like with our development, like we weren't going to trade away picks. And as you guys seen the last couple days, like if you're not going to move picks, it's going to be hard to be in on the big deals. And I think we've done a good job drafting. We want to continue to do a good job drafting and developing and rebuilding the team. And so I wasn't in a, I knew going in that I didn't think we were going to get a lot done. And, if we could do hockey trades, we talked about doing hockey trades, and, we did a couple hockey trades today, but I wasn't in a position to, move picks to try to get a quick fix.
Do you expect Pearson to be here in time to be an option for the lineup tonight?
Oh, not tonight, no. He won't be here tonight, and we're working through his immigration, and so hopefully he's going to be available to us on Wednesday in Colorado.
Jim, what's your concern or your thoughts on your blue line? Because with the exception of Quinn Hughes, who you'll hopefully add maybe in a few weeks' time, it's going to be still relatively the same that we've seen for the last couple of years. Where are you with your defense?
Well, we're going to look this summer to try to change things up on the back end. There's work to be done, on the back end, on defense. Depending on Quinn Hughes, like his family decision here the next couple of weeks, and if he decides to come out, I think, we're going to be really excited to add him. And I think, that's something that we're going to look at in the summertime to make some improvements on the back end.
What can you tell us about the Edler contract situation, and was there any more interest at the 11th hour in him this morning?
So with Alex Edler, like we've negotiated in good faith with him and his agent to try to get a deal done. Obviously, it hasn't been gotten finished off yet. We're going to continue to work on trying to get the deal done. Some teams phoned in the meantime and asked about his availability. We contacted the agent, and he wouldn't waive his no trade, so there was no options for us there. But Alex has been a great player for us for a long time, and we'd like to continue for him to be part of our team, part of our group, and we're going to keep working towards trying to figure something out there.
Jim, just the way things have gone the last 2-3 weeks, did you feel you had to do something to send a message to the locker room and also to the fan base?
Like the last 2 or 3 weeks, I think we've been on a good path this whole season. I think we've been competitive in all the games. Injuries, we don't have the depth, right now to overcome. Like when you lose your best 2 defensemen, that's tough. And it would be tough for any team to overcome that. So, but I think, on any given night, we're showing up, we're working hard, we're competing. So I'm excited about the future of our group here, with Petey and Bess and Bo, and, depending on what Quinn ends up doing, and, Thatcher's back healthy again. And, so I think we're heading in the right direction, and we just got to keep doing the work till we get there.
What reports did you get on Pearson this year? Because he's kind of very consistent player, and this year it just hasn't happened for him.
Yeah, I don't we've seen him play a couple times. He's a guy that's real good in the corners and in front of the net. He was part of that Carter to Foley line where they had a lot of success, and they won. So we're just hoping that he's a guy that comes in here and fits in with our group, and gives us another top 6 forward that scores.
You started Good Branson last year, Jim. You talked about his toughness and creating an environment for your young players to flourish. So where are you on, now that Good Branson's gone, where are you on this idea of team toughness and protecting your younger players?
Yeah, well, we still have some players in our lineup that are going to do that, and Luke Shannon's going to play tonight, so he's, he plays a physical stay-at-home game, and he's a guy that's stuck up for his teammates in the past, so we're hoping that he can kind of take that role on for us.
How much has the game evolved since if you go back to when you made the trade for Branson, how much has the game changed?
Well, it's changed a lot the last couple of years. Like, I think, as we're watching the game, it's so fast out there now, and like defensemen, have to have the mobility. You get back there and there's a guy right on you. They got to have the mobility to get back there and, handle the puck and make a good first pass. And, so I think, it's the last couple of years, the games, especially for defensemen, has really changed.
Was Pearson the guy that you've been looking to pick up for a while? Was he a name that you had identified at some point in the past?
Well, we've always, liked him as a player, and we talked about him. It's something that, kind of came up at the 11th hour today, where we got a call where, a team wanted a defenseman, and they were willing to part with what we consider a top 6 forward. So we made that, that's why we looked at it and made the deal.
And when you added Shan, I mean, was it in the back of your mind that, maybe he's a safety valve in case there's something that comes up with Goodbranson?
Well, we added him. He was good down in Utica when he played there. He was a stabilizing force for some of our young defensemen that are down there, and he's showed up with a good attitude, and he's worked hard every day, and so now he's going to get his opportunity to play.
Touched on the injuries on your blue line. As a result of that, you've had a chance to have a look at some of your younger guys at the NHL level over the past few weeks. What have you thought of what you've seen from Brisebois and Sautner and their chances up here with the big team?
Yeah, I like him. I like, Breeze. Like, we always knew he was a real good skater, mobile, like today's NHL-style defenseman where he could get back, transition the puck up ice. I didn't think in the games he played he looked out of place at all. I think, we're happy with where he's at in his development. And I really like Sautner's game, too. He comes in, he's, played a physical, safe, steady game for us. And, he's paid his dues down in the American League. And even last year at the end of the year when we called him up, I thought he was good. We would have called him up maybe earlier even this year, but he had the injury and he was out for a couple months. But now that he's back, hopefully we can get to see him here quite a bit down the stretch.
Jim, you've always valued your veteran players, be it on the blue line or up front. When you look at your blue line and you mentioned you're going to be semi-aggressive in the summertime, is there any concern, though, still having Chris Tanev and Alex Edler a core of that blue line when you look at the fact that I don't think Chris has ever played a full season without getting injured? Alex has only played one full season of 82 games for you guys. They're not getting any younger, and they've played a lot of minutes. You concerned with still having those guys as being major pieces for you?
Well, I think we've seen even in this last couple of weeks with those guys being out, how Hutton and Stetcher have really taken their game to another level. And with defensemen, sometimes it takes till, they're 25, 26 years old to develop. And, those guys have worked hard since they've been here. And I see a big improvement from, a couple years ago till now. We got some young defensemen that, Ole Ulevi will be back next year and up and going, and I'm still excited about him. And, depending on like Quinn Hughes' decision at the end of the year, like we have some pieces. Chatfield is, a developing defenseman that plays for us in Utica that, he's a mobile guy, he's competitive, he's hard. So I'm excited about like some of the prospects that we have. I talked about Jet Wu is having a real good year. So I'm excited, but we're just going to have to do the right thing by these players in their development, and when they're ready to play, give them an opportunity.
You approached Edler today?
About?
You said he didn't want to waive his no-trade clause.
No, it was 3 or 4 days ago.
And were you ready to move on from Edler, or was it the idea being you could trade him now and maybe re-sign him on July 1?
That's in his hands. Like he's earned the right to have a no trade in his contract, and we told him the teams that have called on him, and if he would have waived his no trade to want to go to one of those teams, and we would have tried to figure out a deal for him. That didn't obviously happen. So, we're still excited to have him and be part of our group, hopefully, moving forward.
Are you confident you can get him re-signed now?
Well, we're going to continue to work at it. Like, I don't know, at the end of the day, but we're going to continue to work at it.
Jim, how would you characterize Sven Baertschi's situation now with 20 games to go? Are you confident that he'll be back in uniform at some point this season, or is it really a sort of day-by-day?
Yeah, anytime you're dealing with, concussions and concussion symptoms, you don't really know, you know what I mean? Like, we're going to do the right thing by Sven Baertschi, and he's not going to play till he's 100%, and, we'll continue to work with him, and when he, says that he feels like 100% and ready to play, he'll play again. I don't know when that date is, but, all we can do is go day by day and do the right thing by Sven, and hopefully, he gets back.
Where's Tanev? It's kind of gone quiet around Chris. Is he progressing in his recovery?
Yeah, he's kind of like, we're just kind of taking a wait and see approach on the injury he has, and And we should know more probably here the middle of the end of this next week, like going forward, a timeline as to when he'll be back.
Will he play again this year, or is there a chance he's
We,
shut
yeah,
down?
like, we don't know that yet. You know, we'll see, you know, how the injury has improved the last couple weeks, and we'll have a better idea toward the end of this week.
You guys were above the playoff bar not that long ago, and obviously this stretch of 2 wins and 10 has dropped you, and now there's a little bit of a gap there. 20 games to go. We always hear about meaningful games. Like, in your mind, where is this team right now in relation to the playoff race, and what constitutes meaningful games for you moving forward?
Well, I think, you know, when you look at things, and especially our young players, and even the last 10, 15 games, how the intensity has ramped up coming out of the All-Star break, and, you know, puck battles, you know, you're talking about teams, you know, managing the puck better. And us being in the race has been good for the development of our young kids, because they see how hard it is to be successful and to be competitive for a playoff spot. You know what I mean? Like, if you're just down at the bottom of the league, and, you know, other teams don't take you serious, and they show up and they play and they beat you anyway, you don't get how hard it actually is to be competitive, you know, to make the playoffs. So I think this has been an excellent learning experience for our young players to, you know, because on any given night we're playing against the other team's best goalies, and, you know, teams play hard against us, and it's been good.
With the deadline over now, how do you characterize where you're at with the rebuild?
Well, I think we got a lot of exciting pieces in place. You know, when I look at our center ice going forward, you know, I'm excited about Petey and Bo and Adam Gaudette. You know, on the wings we got Brock, and, you know, we're going to add, you know, got some good young defensemen coming. Marky's been, you know, he's not necessarily like, you know, part of the rebuild, but he's been excellent this year for us, and we got Thatcher coming in underneath that, you know, we're excited about. So I think, you know, I think the message to our fans today is, you know, to continue to be patient. We're going to do things the right way. We're going to draft and develop, and, you know, we're going to build this thing piece by piece so we can be competitive for a long time.
Jim, this is the deadline to make players eligible for AHL playoffs with some paperwork. Who have you papered today? Who are you going to make eligible for the American League playoffs?
I've been so busy, but is it, yeah, McEwen and Sotner. Well, McEwen's going down, I think, but Sotner we've papered to play in the AHL playoffs.
The team has struggled to score. The power play has struggled as well, and those were some of the reasons that you brought Sam Gagner in the first place. Why was he not seen as an option for this team this year?
Well, that's water under the bridge now. Like, for whatever reason, you know, it didn't work out. You know, I think, you know, Sam showed up, and he's a hard worker, and he, you know, he did everything that he could to want to be part of our group. It never worked out, and, you know, so that sometimes those things happen.
Are you content? I mean, it's been a sort of ongoing storyline all year about development in Utica, and, you know, our guys progressing down there. Like, Palmu left, and now it sounds like Dahlen wanted out. Is everything in your mind smooth sailing down there as far as the development curve is going for young players?
Yeah, like Trent and his group do an excellent job. They're tireless workers. You know, their job is to walk the fine line between developing and getting players ready for the NHL and being competitive every night, so those players play in a competitive environment. And they work, you know, really hard working with our kids, whether it's video, whether it's nutrition, whether it's in the weight room. And I think, you know, seeing Zach McEwen up here this year, who we signed as a free agent, is a product of, you know, their hard work. Seeing Breezebaugh come in and play some games, you know, I think, you know, that shows that, you know, they're doing the right things. And so I'm happy with the job that they're doing down there. So, you know, I don't have a problem with it.
From
my vantage point, though, I mean, there have been stories about, junior guys having a hard time transitioning to Utica. Is there a, thought for maybe there's a different approach that needs to be taken in terms of working with junior guys in terms of how to actually get to the AHL level?
Well, I think sometimes what happens is, young players, they sometimes don't realize how hard the AHL is. Like, it's a tough league, and it's, you show up down there and there's, you got like guys, veteran players on other teams, and it's a hard league. Sometimes, they don't give it the credit that it deserves. And then, like that's what development's all about, though, is working with our kids, whether, their deficiencies, to improve that, and then giving them an opportunity to play and develop on the ice. So, like, I don't have any issues with, the job that, like, our coaches have done down there, and they care about the development of our players, and they work hard, and, I feel they're doing a good job.